him. Thank you, Adam. Adam Halsey from that Business Network. Let's bring in the Jenna Lee, anchor of Happening Now and a former anchor on the Fox Business Network, and I'm telling you to be looking at their lightning. What does that mean?
At the lightning bolt?
I'm being told to look at the lightning bolt. The producer just said, lightning bolt, lightning bolt. No, she didn't. Here's what's happening. Here's the reason. Because they were supposed to reopen the stock market at 3:05 Eastern Daylight Time. I want to show you something. Can you see this? It's 3:05 Eastern Daylight Time, and it hasn't reopened. But they've just explained why it hasn't reopened. Oh, there's me and me and me and me and me. Speaking of that, where is that feed from the Wall Street, from the stock exchange? It was over here in Monster earlier. It was right here, and I said, I'm going to use it. Oh, there it is. It's over on the big wall now. We've figured out what caused this crash to happen. See this? This is a live feed. These are the people standing around doing nothing. And see this? Somebody tried to open too many tabs, and the whole thing crashed. That's happened on our computers. Jenna, why did this happen?
Well, we don't really know why it happened yet. We're still waiting for some direct answers. And, you know, some are pointing to some questions about infrastructure at the New York Stock Exchange, whether or not we actually have the right infrastructure in place. But we truly don't have a clear answer from the New York Stock Exchange yet. But
without all of us gas bags, nobody would have ever known.
Well, listen, it is important that we cover this. Even,
I didn't say that. I'm not going to shoot myself in the face. That would be stupid.
No, it is important that we cover this. Even though about a quarter of our trades go through the New York Stock Exchange, it still is the largest stock exchange in the world. Billions of dollars are traded. So it's important. Also want to point out, Shep, since computers really entered the game in the late 1980s, this is the longest that we've seen traded halted. So that's significant. Here's
my favorite part. When the market reopens, they tell us now in 3.5 minutes, we're going to get this huge dump, because what happened was all open orders were canceled. And that goes back to the flash crash, because when the flash crash happened back in 2010, they put new rules into place. So all of the open orders were closed, and you had to rewrite them, including end-of-day orders. So things that would have happened like poof at the end of the trading day, those had to be rewritten. So in now less than 3 minutes, we're going to get this big dump of orders that were postponed from earlier. Will that cause another big drop? I don't know.
It's a big question about where stocks are going to go, how that also is going to influence markets overseas, which you pointed out at the top of the show are some of the big focuses today as well.
Lauren Lyons-Cole is with us as well, financial analyst. What do you think is about to happen here?
Well, you know, stocks have already been down a little bit. We've got a lot going on in China, a lot going on in Greece, so it's not surprising. In fact, if anything, this has really been pretty seamless considering all of the companies have been able to trade on the other exchanges. So we may see nothing. It might just be business as usual.
I feel like it's the great diversion day, because the real story is not even in our country. It's in China, where their markets are off more than 30% in 3 weeks. 30%. That is more than 25% is as bad as it gets, and it's not going to get better. Most of the trading was done by regular people, and it was done with borrowed money. Billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars, and that has no signs of stopping, does it?
Well, it sounds familiar, doesn't it, as we look at borrowed money in other countries like Greece as well as our own. And now I think the big question for China is that the government in China has tried to step in, and we know how powerful the government in China has been in the past. They haven't been able to stop the stock market slide. So now there's a big question about what the government's going to do, how that'll impact the public as well, and of course, it's such a big market. How does it impact the global economy?
And that's the reason for this. This and Greece. Though it sounds like Greece has come forward with some proposals for how to fix its problem, but nothing that anybody's biting on. Today, I'm most curious about what's going to happen in a minute and a half when they reopen this stock market, because in all the years that I've been doing this, and that's at least 110, nothing like this has ever happened, and we don't know what's going to happen to those numbers when it reopens, do we?
It's absolutely unprecedented. This is the first time something like this has happened, so it's something to watch. But you know what's important to note is that this will happen going forward. As we have these sort of reliance on electronic trading, these technical difficulties will happen, so it's something for consumers and investors to be aware of.
And the power will go off in Washington, and the trains will stop in New York, and the Wall Street Journal's website will crash.
Hopefully the power won't go off in your studio.
Well, actually, that would give us the rest of the afternoon off. But that aside, that's something that they've been warning us about since the mid-1990s. That is, we're very reliant, and that means bad things are going to happen.
I thought it was interesting. An analyst on our program today said it's not so much how you get injured, but how you recover. And that's going to be interesting. Again, here in the New York Stock Exchange, how quickly do they come back online? But also for some of these other issues, can we recover quickly enough?
Yeah, that's a good question. We see on a big wall over here the traders down on Wall Street, and they're clearly waving at us, waiting to see, all right, are we about to reopen? Technically speaking, what will happen when they reopen is they'll file explain it to me.
So basically what will happen, all of the orders that have been waiting, people are going to put them all in. It'll reopen just like it does every morning at 9:30 a.m. Yeah, so it'll be the same sort of rebooting of the system. Of course, it'll close very quickly at 4 o'clock, as always today. So it really won't be any different from every single morning.
Okay, it's 10 minutes past 3 o'clock on the East Coast, and the stock market was supposed to open 5 minutes ago, and then it was supposed to open just now, and it didn't do it. Here's the thing. They have to get it open today because they have to get those orders re-entered, and they have to get their close of day orders entered before we open. We can't open again until we close, and to close we have to open?
The New York Stock Exchange has the closing, they have the market on closing, if you will. So it's very important that we're able to find out what the closing prices will be for today. All the mutual funds that trade, all the index funds, this will impact very many things if we don't get it opened and closed again.
And to Lauren's point, this is very symbolic, not only for our markets, but the overseas markets as well. So since it's so unprecedented, what does it mean if they don't open in time by the close? What does that mean for the other markets and how that determines our day tomorrow as well?
I was watching the Fox Business Network when this happened. Obviously, Nicole Petalides' head was just on a swivel. She's down there at the stock exchange and nobody really knows what to do. Gasparino suggests they go to the bar, because that's what they do most of the time anyway. That was Charlie Gasparino, I know, because I was watching. But now I wonder if there's some real concern because they made some concrete promises. Actually, the first thing that the New York Stock Exchange said was, we're going to open between 2:45 and 3. That was their first official word. Their next official word was, hang on, 3:05 will be open at 3:05, and their next official word was 3:10. What's the thing that traders and the markets hate the most? That's uncertainty, and we are chock full of it today.
Certainly is. I also tried to call the New York Stock Exchange to see if I could get a little bit more insight right before coming on air. No one's picking up the phone, so at least I could report that.
Same at the IRS. It's the exact same thing. So I don't know. I mean, John Glenn, at the head of our Information Specialist Central over here, the Stock Exchange has not opened.
It does not appear to have opened.
No, because I know when they open, they're going to tell us we opened, and they haven't opened yet. They've recovered off the session's lows by almost 300 points. The movement, I am told, and I firmly believe, because I have no reason to doubt, that none of this movement has anything to do with anything that's happened in our stock market glitches today. This is all about Greece and China. Here's where it happened, 11:30 or so. I mean, if that is what you want, that looks like the bottom of Texas. I mean, it's not even that big a deal at all, this. And now the Fox Business Network is reporting that the stock exchange has just reopened. Trading is resuming, that it did so just about a minute ago, and we are well off the session lows, though apparently at this moment we're trending down. You can see what's happened all day. This volatility, and really in the middle of the day, if something's going to crap out, 11:32 in the morning is not a bad time, because almost everything down there that you want to talk about happens right here at 9:30. And right here at 4 o'clock. Those are the two biggest times of the day for the markets, right here and right here. And this stuff in the middle is just sort of filling space. Unless there's some huge bit of news or something that's going to move the market, this is just sort of quiet time. Like in kindergarten, you get your mats out. But now we've just reopened and there's no craziness.
Well, if you were not on your mat and you were at home and you were trying to trade stocks on like any sort of portal, you were still able to do that, which I think is important to point out. So if you wanted to buy and trade stocks right now, if you wanted to go over to one of these big screens and go ahead and try to do it, you could still place your order today.
Unless you're stuck on the train or your power's out.
That's true.
Which also happened today. I wonder how the internet is, granted our connectivity is making things more difficult on bad days, but I wonder what this information overload that's coming from the computers, that's happening on social media today, that would have you firmly believe that all these things are related and North Korea attacked us. Wonder what that is doing to us collectively, I wonder.
It's a big question.
We don't need the stress, I don't think, at all.
You know what I hope it's doing is I hope it's sending a lot of our young people to think about majoring in computer science in college, because what we really need are more software engineers to be able to battle this sort of thing. This is a sort of, there's never enough of those sort of workers, and obviously we could have used a few more today.
Everything I hear about the young people is they think we're all, I almost said a bad word, we're all bat crazy. Because we're talking about things they don't care about, and we're focused on things that they don't believe, and we talk about
but if you take their computers away, they're really going to care about this. And that comes back to infrastructure.
They will care then.
And that comes back to the adults in the room.
Here's what we have. The trains are running again in New York. Some of the power's back on in Washington. Wall Street Journal website is back up and running at WSJ.com. United Airlines is fixing its problems, and the stock market is back online. It's a great day in the USA. More on the markets ahead. Jerry Willis is here from the Fox Business Network to talk all about our 401ks and the real reason behind all this. And in a little while, I was watching CNN earlier today. Something I know I don't normally do it.
What a confession.
But old J.J. Walker, Jimmy Walker, who's a friend of Bill Cosby, is on, and he goes, "This didn't surprise any of us. Any of us who knew him for years, this didn't surprise any of us. The anchor did not follow up. Which part did not surprise you? I will follow up." Stay tuned for news on Fox News Channel.